Well, I actually broke it down. I just like kind of named a few players that I thought stuck out to me. In the first being, surprise, surprise, an offensive lineman. You understand how I like the offensive lineman.
Right.
Uh, Number one with a bullet is Jackson Carmen. His weight was at 335, which is awesome. The coaches have to be incredibly pleased with that development. A lot of worry around him was whether he was going to be able to keep his weight down. It seems to me that he is committed to Dabo's all-in process, and the mental and physical part of the game, and he's kept it at 335. That's pretty solid. Obviously you want to keep his feet really quick and be able to move, and you got to shed some weight to do that. So that was a great thing that I saw. One thing I was really pleased with.
If you go back and watch some of the interviews with some of the players after practice last night, you'll see Jackson Carmen back there just killing it on the elliptical. And I thought that's where you need to be, big man.
Yeah,
You need to be on that elliptical 24/7. Tyson Poindexter. I originally, when we did our show, I originally said that he would be redshirted, and I thought that because of the fact that he probably wouldn't beat Trevor Lawrence, I didn't feel like he should even waste a year of eligibility. And I'm still on the fence about it, but after him coming in at 226, and after seeing him at the spring game just throw darts and be very comfortable running out of the pocket,
Yep.
and knowing that whether or not he redshirts or not, he's gonna get his Kelly Bryant time. There's gonna be a gap where he's gonna fight for as a junior or a redshirt sophomore, whatever they decide. But it looks like there's going to be a gap there where he's going to be able to fight while Trevor is gone and DJ's coming right in.
Yep.
And he's going to have his chance. So it's exciting for that. He's going to have his chance. Might not have much of a chance. There's a small window there.
Look.
And before I thought, well, just redshirt him because you give him more time. But there's really no way around it. I mean, he's got a very small window whether you redshirt him or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm starting to lean towards not redshirting Tyson because of how well he did. I think can he beat out Chase Bryce after the fact that the fans love Chase now after he kept him into the game? I don't think he can beat him out starting out, but I feel like he's going to be putting up a fight for sure, especially knowing that he's already 226. So that was thing for me.
Yeah, that was huge. I was shocked to see that. That was actually one of mine on my list. That's a lot of weight for that guy. He came in and he looked like he was rail thin. So to be at 226, that's 6 pounds heavier than Trevor Lawrence checked in, I believe. So that's pretty impressive. And the way he can spin the ball, obviously, like you said, I think he's kind of headed to play some this year. Whether it's a lot or not, it's a different story. But the second thing I noticed, the second guy I have on the list anyways, was Jalen Lee. A lot of people wanted to talk about his weight at 273. All right, a lot of people thought that was very bad. That's just heavy for a tight end. As a matter of fact, he's heavy, getting there near offensive tackle weight. He's kind of pushing the line there. But a lot of people at practice seemed to think that was good weight. They said he looked pretty good, as long as he can get his blocking assignments down and, be the tight end that we need, the Garrett Williams that we need, and just kind of leak out for a pass every now and then maybe. I think we'll be in good shape. But obviously tight end, like we've talked about before, is a difficult position to learn, especially in the Clemson system. But if he can pick it up just moderately and just not be kind of a detriment to the team when he's out there, I think that's going to be a huge boost for the tight end rotation.
Yeah, and I have notes about Jalen Lee as well. When I first saw 273, I thought this is ridiculous because if you look at like some of the big time tight ends, I looked up every single starting tight end for the every Power 5 team. None of them were over 260.
Yeah.
All right, so that was a concern for me. Most of them were around 250, 255, so 273. But then I saw some pictures. Got some friends that sent us some pictures from practice, and he's definitely not fat by any means. So don't think that just because we're saying his weight was high means that he was like overweight and obese or anything. It's definitely not that case. And Dabo Swinney said this. He's not bad. He continues to get a little bit stronger. He's not going to ever be a skinny guy. He's
Right.
a big, long athlete that's pretty muscled up for his age, but still young, still maturing into what he's going to be, but he's going to be a big man. And so I think that kind of says what you're looking for right there is that don't ever expect him to kind of fit this cookie cutter mold. I even looked at like pros. Like if you look at Tony Gonzalez, for example, 6'5", 247 when he was at his prime. So not 6'6", though. and some people are saying he's closer to 6'7", Jalen Lee. So it's kind of hard to say. Everybody's unique and perfectly created, right? So, uniquely created. Dwayne Allen, I thought, was kind of chunky guy, right, for a tight end. I thought he's kind of a beefy dude. He's not 6'6", 6'7". He is 6'4", and he's 260. So, shorter and, 260 kind of makes you look kind of like the stocky weight,
Yeah.
So do I think it's a bad thing? I don't think it's a bad thing. He's definitely going to be relied on to block most anyways. Tight end is one of those things where, because you have to learn how to run routes and have to learn how to block correctly, it's a very difficult position to just jump in there. J.C. Chalk seems to be very encouraged from some of the interviews I've seen from him about getting his chance now. Said he really didn't take his nutrition seriously last year, and so he's doing that now and feels more confident. Says the whole room feels confident, but as a lot of the coaches have been saying, not a lot of experience behind all that talent.
Yeah, no doubt about it. As a matter of fact, when we were talking about, kind of what people seem to think is kind of a thin core, I'm going to go next to the linebacking core and talk about Chad Smith. He actually dropped about 8 pounds from last year at 233. A lot of people were kind of concerned about this. They were concerned, our linebackers last year were heavier than that, mid 240s to mid 250s, I think. So people were complaining, thinking they were too small. Well, if I remember, the past several years, our linebackers have been pretty heavy, but they haven't been able to cover the pass very well. They kind of worry me in the secondary. Trey Lamar obviously showed that he wasn't the quickest in the world. Had a real bad 40 time in the NFL Combine. I always gave Ben Boulware a hard time for not being able to cover the pass. So hopefully Chad Smith dropping a few pounds is going to kind of help his quickness and be able to cover those passes a little bit better and still be stout enough to cover the run, of course.
The linebackers all kind of gravitated towards like 235, that and 230 range. That's where they really wanted to be. And a lot of them had to cut weight to do that. Skalski said that he had to adjust his nutrition. Chad Smith said he had to adjust his nutrition. So there was a lot of guys that kind of tried to get around that weight, and a lot of words that I was hearing was quickness. Wanted to do it not to get faster, not to just lose weight, but to get quicker to the ball, quicker to the position that they need to be, quicker to where the ball's going to be. And, a lot of them said it was because of that nutrition. If you look at it, Reagan Upshaw, 238, Jake Venables, 235, Bentley, 235, Skalski, 234, Spector, 233, Smith, 233, Isaiah Simmons, 231, even some of the new guys, Patterson, McGuire, 229. So all around that 230 range, not that typical 240 range that we've seen last year from these same guys. So a lot of them have trimmed up, and I think in a good way. And so I'm excited for that. Really, we're hearing a lot of good stuff from Vonta or Levanta, whatever you want to say. I think it's Vonta now, Vontae Bentley, but he's 235, and I know he's kind of in that mix between trying to find where he's going to be, and with Brent Venables, we all know Mike linebacker is just not going to be something you start as a freshman. It's just not happening. Right. So Skalski is ready, but he better be prepared for close to 900 snaps this year. We just pray that he doesn't get hurt for sure. But there's a lot of guys fighting for that Mike linebacker position, but a lot of word coming out from camp that Bentley is already there physically. Now, again, like Lay, mentally there, it's going to take some time for sure. And that's why Brent Venables said when they asked him, anybody you see stick out to you? No, nobody stuck out to me. Well, is people doing bad? Are people doing bad? No, nobody's doing bad. Everybody's doing what's expected. So the perfect answer of no answer, right? So
he's good at that. He's actually really good at that. No, and the next guy I have on my list, I'll tell you, he is ready right now, and that's T. Higgins. He is at 217, gained 12 pounds. Okay, the guy at that size and with that athletic ability, he is going to be a nightmare for opposing defenses, as if he wasn't already. That guy obviously came ready to rock and roll. He's looking a lot more like Mike Williams did in his older days, putting on the pounds. He looked great at the weigh-in. I can't imagine having him and Ross on two sides of the field trying to go after it. But, yeah, T really impressed me. I was really happy to see that he was able to add that much weight this offseason.
Well, again, he was another guy. I listened to the interview. Here he is talking about, hey, Skalski was talking about it. The kitchen is where abs are made, right? So you get your six-pack in the kitchen, right? So A lot of guys are going back to nutrition, trying to actually take it serious this year, and not just kind of go through the motions and rely on their talent, I guess you could say. So it's exciting to see. I put down. I got a lot of stuff on the linebackers again. I noticed that Mike Jones was 216. I don't know if that was correct or not. I was a little bit concerned with that, just considering everybody else was gravitating towards 230. And some people said that he was kind of going down to build muscle back up, and I believe that's kind of the opposite of what Lay is doing. He's kind of beefed up a little bit to kind of lean back down. That's a lot of guys do that, kind of reverse or trick their body, kind of things. But get off of some of that excess fat that they don't need and build that muscle instead, right? So, but I got Kane Patterson. Kane Patterson's a guy I was talking about back in February that we watched his film. He's one of those guys for his high school team, played middle linebacker, turned around, and when they got on offense, played starting running back. And so you get a guy like that who's just a freak athlete, and Clemson's got him all over the field. But I'm really looking forward to seeing him. They say Kane and Keith McGuire are like twins. You can't really tell them apart other than the number. So it's good to have twins out there, and exciting to see. Jordan Williams came in at 303. He was predicting 305 over on their Instagram page, but he came in at 303. Niles Pickney dropped 15 pounds, got leaner again. It seems like they've all been around 300. 290, I think, is where he's at now, so it's a little bit lower, I guess, a little bit under. Another cool thing from the defensive line, if you guys didn't see this, Xavier Kelly is at his first time at over 300 pounds at 302, and so that's exciting. KJ Henry as well jumped up to 251 and is closer to X. Xavier is over at 268, so those 2 5-stars there KJ's competing to get his weight up for sure. So exciting stuff all around. I think if you look at it from top to bottom, there's not any negatives for sure at all.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. Actually, that's the last guy I had on my list was Xavier Kelly. And the fact that he's at 302, I'm really excited to see what he can do this year. You really want to hit, especially at his size and his height, you want to be able to hit about 300 to be a quality defensive tackle anyways. And, he got hurt at the beginning of his career. Obviously, that kind of set him back a little bit, but I think he's added the bulk that's necessary to, be that guy. That's a position of concern this year at defensive tackle, the depth there especially. And, of course, you had our top 2 guys, have been hurt for quite a while. They just kind of got go for practice. So hopefully he can kind of flash some of that potential he had all along this year at defensive tackle and give us some quality depth there anyways.